Good evening, YouTube. This is man always George Page, aka the Emperor of WMA Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, tomorrow night is a major event. It is the PFL World Championships, and this event is most definitely a great event for women in the sport of MMA. As you know, the main event is the current LFA lightweight champion Kayla Hype Job Harrison. I'm always going to call her Hype Job versus Taylor Cordado. If I got her name wrong, I'm sorry. I will apologize. And the show's going to start. It's going to be prelims. Going to be 4:30 on ESPN Plus. And the main event is going to be 8 o'clock on ESPN Plus and ESPN 2. So I'm going to watch on ESPN 2. Anyway, this is a great time for women in NFL, especially MMA, especially PFL, because in this show there are 6 women competing, and 3 of these women are, I would say, legends. They are, I think, they are great women in the sport of combat sports in general, and this is an opportunity for them. First off, we have debut of one Miss Julia the Jewel Budd. If you know Julia Budd, she's been competing in combat sports for quite a long time. Her career started out roundabout with Strike Force, and she was the PFL. She was the Bellator 145 champion. And her last fight was some time ago. She fought such people such as Amanda Nunes. She fought Chris Cyborg. Arlene Blanco. I mean, a list long of women she's competed against. Also, instead again, you have Kayla Hype Job Harrison, who is a 2-time Olympian champion for judo. She's also right now she's 12-0 with PFL, and she is the current, as I said before, the current lightweight champion. And also you have Grisha T Rex Shields. As you know, she's probably one of the best boxers in the sport of boxing right now. She is also, like Kayla, she's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and she made her debut in the PFL some time ago, and now this is going to be her second fight with the PFL. Now, like I said, Julia's making a debut, and she's going against another legend like herself, and that is, Caitlin the Striking Viking, Young. And, Caitlin's been, around the game since, well, these women, their records, they have competed against some of the best and most competitive women in the sport of mixed martial arts. And, Julia, this is an opportunity. As you know, she was with Bellator for quite some time. And then after her last fight, she became a free agent. So she decided to, take her talents to PFL and fight at 155. She was 145 champion for quite some time. And, I follow Julia Budd on social media. She has I think I said before, she has great physical genetics, and she's an amazing person. And, she held a title for at least, I think, a little over 3 or 4 years until, she had to go up against Chris Cyborg. And that fight I watched, it was a tough fight for Julia Budd. I mean, Cyborg just, is one of those tough people. It's hard to get around Chris. She's tough. And, the future was really up for her. Her future was kind of like, in the air after losing the title and being the champion for so long. And then her last fight with the Bellator was against Diana Silva. And she won that fight, and she still shows grit and toughness. And I mean, she's still a great fighter. And, this was, like I said, this was her last fight with the PFL. And, she became a free agent. And like I said, I think I'm surprised she's not with UFC, but UFC, if you look like a certain person, or if you're over the age of 30, they're very ageist. So she goes to PFL, which gives her the opportunity to fight in women's lightweight, and maybe see how she does. But she goes up against a lady who's been in the game for quite some time, and that is Caitlin Young. And Caitlin, she has fought in many different organizations. She's been champion before herself. She is a Muay Thai expert, and she has been with PFL some time. This is going to be her 3rd fight with the PFL. She is 1-3 with the PFL, and her first fight was against Cindy Danois, who, like Caitlin, was a former Invicta competitor. and she won that fight against Cindy Danwa. And, there's a pretty good turnout for her. Some people thought her next fight was against Kayla Harrison, but what happened was they fed Kayla Cindy Danwa. Then her second fight was against Marina Moraes, if I got a name wrong, I'm sorry to say. And this fight was probably maybe her toughest fight. But to me, this fight went in the favor of Marina. And, I feel like it was a split decision. I feel like if, Kayla could have won this fight, if, it's just about edging out the better opponent and maybe just doing a little more. But these women have a great legacy, being, I think, I would say, the founding mothers of the sport of MMA, and having, been in the game for as long as they have. But this is going to be a great fight between two legends. The outcome is uncertain. Now, here we have is another fight, which is going to be on the main card, and this is Grisha T Rex Shields and versus Abigail Martnez. And, this is going to be Clarissa's second fight. And this is going to be the debut of Abigail Martnez. And Clarissa, is a legend. She's the GOAT, as she calls herself, one of the best women in the sport of boxing. And she made the switch to MMA this year, and PFL gave the opportunity to compete. And her first fight she was against Brittany Elkin. And this fight was probably one of her toughest fights. I mean, it was a tough fight for her. Elkin was dominant. She was using her ground game, her skills. I mean, she was really put a whooping on Clarissa. But Clarissa, being the better stand-up artist, really just blasted her out, hit her, and then just did a lot of ground and pound. And like I said, it went away with Clarissa. Clarissa won. And this was a good fight because I watched that fight. And I supported Clarissa Shields. And right now, I think Clarissa should do like this. After this fight, when she wins it or not, she should focus on her upcoming fight against Savannah Marshall. And I think by that time, maybe work on a few things, fix a few things. Really, I think focus on working her ground game, and also her wrestling, because she can probably miss a whole year of not competing. And PFL still gives you what they call a stipend, a little something to help you out in between fights. And Abigail Martnez, she's from Mexico, and she fights out of Lobo Gym, the same gym where Alexa Grasso and Ariane Daniel fights. And I think this is going to be a great stand-up fight between these two ladies. Now, Abigail's been fighting for a while. She's a record, I think, of I think it's 1-1, I believe. She fought for a time. One of her earliest fights was with American Combatante. That's a very popular organization that's very joint with the Spanish world. They get a lot of fighters from Latin America, and she did pretty good in this fight. She dominated her opponent. She was up against Claudia Zamora. And, I think she's still young. She has potential. And this is going to be her third fight with a mega organization like the PFL. And, if she can really put on a good show, but if she keeps it standing and striking with Clarissa, she's going to get knocked out. Carissa's a tough girl, and I think she's a big girl. 155, I think, is a perfect weight class for her. She has done, she fights about in that same weight class in boxing. And I think I think it's in women's boxing. I think it's it's not lightweight, is it? I'm trying to remember, but this is going to be a great opportunity for up and coming, both these ladies. And maybe, we're just going to see how it's going to come out. Now we know the main event is Kayla Harrison versus Taylor Godado, and this is going to be, I think, probably one of the biggest fights for the night. It's the main event. And Kayla Harrison, as you know, is one of the biggest stars, and Taylor Godado is up and coming. A while back, Taylor took some time off because she had a baby and she wanted to be a mother, and just like Kayla, she's also a mother. Taylor adopted her sister's two children. So I think this is the battle of the two moms. And as you all know, back in 2019, Kayla won the PFL lightweight champion in the women's division, and she got a lot of money for it. And probably the most money that any fighter can get right now in mixed martial arts, especially for a woman. And she was out of action for a while. She did fight in Victor for a minute. She did a fight in 145, which means that she can probably fight in that division. And her last fight was against Gianna Fabian. And that fight, a lot of people were thinking this was going to be a real good fight, but the fight was kind of short and quick. Gianna just didn't have anything for Kayla. I mean, once she got on the ground, it was over. And, I think Kayla just showed her superior ground game, and she surprised us with her striking. But let's talk right now that, Kayla's thinking about leaving PFL and going to UFC. But we just saw a video where, Mr. Dana, don't call me Lex Luthor, White, is suggesting that she stays in the PFL. And I think it's probably better for her to stay at PFL. She can develop as a fighter, and also she just started there. Going to UFC, I don't know. And with UFC's issue, they're not going to grow the 145 division. But somebody like Kayla probably can help it grow a lot more. Now, like I said, Taylor's been in the game for quite some time. Her record is 3-1 right now. And this fight would be a possible, if she wins, she becomes the new lightweight champion at the PFL. And, she fought in the Invicta for some time ago. And she fought against one of my favorite fighters, Tanisha Triple Threat Tennant. And they fought in the Invicta Phoenix series for bantamweight. And the outcome of that fight is that Tanisha wins. And after that, I think Taylor, she decided to move away, or I believe this was about a couple of years ago, a few years back. And I think she became a mom, and she decided to, raise her child. But then she got the opportunity to come back, and she started fighting in the PFL. Now, she gets this opportunity to fight for the championship because one person that was close that she was supposed to go up against was Larissa Pacheco. But Pacheco came in overweight for the semifinals. So she was dropped out and replaced by, Mariana Morenos, if I got her name right again, Mariana. And, this was an opportunity for either one of these ladies to step up and get a chance as a champ. But Taylor, her striking was pretty good. Her ground game was pretty good. And she won by, I think, she won the fight. I forgot what split decision or unanimous decision. If you know what it was, you can put in the description. And this is a great opportunity for her. But the big question is, does Taylor has enough to go against Kayla Harrison? Kayla is a tough opponent. Even though, if I call her hype job, I call her hype job. But the fact is, she's a good judo artist. She's strong. And I think if Taylor has to really, the only way she can win this fight is she keeps it standing and use her superior stand-up. If it gets to the ground, what's going to happen is, that Kayla's going to slap that arm bar and it's over. If she keeps the fight going a little longer, I think Kayla doesn't have as much stamina per se because, she's kind of like Ronda Rousey. She ends her fight so soon. But if Taylor has good footwork, keep it standing, keep the distance, don't let, Taylor grab on her and toss her, she has this fight. And she would be the new PFL champion. So best of luck to her. And if Kayla loses, well, she still, as Dana White might be saying he might not want her, but knowing Dana White, knowing how much of what she can, she can bring to the to UFC, she's like Ronda Rousey 2.0. And you know how much Dana White loves Ronda Rousey. So anyway, the fight's going to be tomorrow night. Like I said, the prelims is going to be at 4:30. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. So I don't know about ESPN Plus. It's just the worst. I hear a lot of my brothers are like The Coach and XA and some others say it's just the worst streaming. I mean, ESPN, you have Disney to back up you. Why are you streaming so bad? And, like I said, this is a great opportunity for these ladies, these 6 wonderful ladies in the sport of MMA. Some legends, some up-and-comers. This is a great thing for them. And PFL, I will say, it's what PFL need to do. You getting all these ladies who may not, have the opportunity to go to the UFC, who have left Bellator, extend your women's division. You have a lot of division for the men. A lightweight division is a great division for bigger women who don't want to squeeze in at 135 or 145, who have the great style that works for them. Bring in at least 3 more divisions such as bantamweight, featherweight, and even straw. You can really be a great place for a lot of women who can't get into UFC, who can't get in Bellator to go. But like I said, this fight's coming up tomorrow night. Check it out. Support these ladies in WMMA. Watch it. If you want to watch the streaming, that's cool. Do like I do sometimes. All I gotta do is just, put in search on YouTube and you can find the fights. That's usually later after the fights. But like I said, I'm going to watch on ESPN2 because I got cable and I can watch it. And I want to support these ladies in WMMA. Like I said, I'm a fan. It's your man on the George page, a.k.a. the Emperor of WMMA Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.